if we're recording. I'll cut it out. Anything? Or should we
Well,
start?
I just want do you mind if during like the first half hour or so I finish watching today's movie Snowbeast? Because I didn't.
Oh my God, you didn't watch it.
No, I did. I was trying to fool you.
And I think you did.
Tim, I can't believe how quickly you just stood up and punched a hole in the wall.
But even as you said that, I thought, no, I get it. Because there are some weeks where I'm like, I don't know if I really watched this movie. You know, sometimes like your thoughts go in other directions. And
Oof, this one. Yeah, especially this one. And I love this movie. Let me be honest.
No, it was a good movie.
It was the best movie ever on City Bimco.
Wait a second here.
It's City Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted. This time, it's really personal. Don't ask.
So it's City Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we daydream about revenge sequels that were never made. And we always pick a wildcard question, which I have in a jar so people know. Not cheating. Jar of papers.
Look at his big meaty fingers digging in that jar.
Yeah.
Number 6.
What was that a jar of, Tim?
It said ointment.
It used to be peanut butter.
Ew.
Okay.
You put your toes in it?
So after we watch this movie, we're going to decide which character from this movie in a sequel is most likely to marry a millionaire.
That's the one?
Number 6. Anything amazing happened to you, John? I sent you guys some news stories. I found way too many. We can't talk about them all.
You did. Well, Monday was my birthday.
Oh,
Happy
birthday. I didn't know.
Thank you. Yeah, you act shocked that, you know. But anyway, yes, I do celebrate birthdays. You had no clue when my birthday was, Tim, right?
I didn't. You had them.
No,
in
you didn't.
Birthday parties in high school, but I was never invited.
You've only known me for 42 years. Why would you know when my birthday was? My family has welcomed you into our home. Your family welcomed me into yours.
Yes.
You know, I don't expect you to know when my birthday is. It's not like I know when your birthday is, April 21st. But no, don't think twice about it, Tim, that you do not know when my birthday was.
You know my birthday because it used to be. It used to be on my Wikipedia page, which you took down. That's how you know my birthday.
No, I have known your birthday since 1981. It has nothing to do with the Wikipedia page. Yes.
Why did you know that?
Every April 21st, because I asked you when I first met you, what's your sign? And you told me your sign. Wow. And I said, well, when's your birthday? I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm not compatible with that sign. And so ever since then. Wow. So we had a really nice, I went out to my mom's Monday night and stayed through Tuesday. And we had an ice cream cake. Mm-hmm. And my mom gave me cash, which is always great.
Wow.
And my brother gave me this really nice wireless charger. And I can put my Apple Watch on there, and I can put my Apple earbuds on it, and I can put my iPhone on it.
Nice.
The only thing is, I do not own an Apple Watch. I do not own Apple earbuds, and I do not own an iPhone. But I didn't have the heart to tell him.
Oh, no.
So,
and he doesn't listen to the show.
Well, no, probably not. So I didn't have the heart to tell him, you know, because he was so proud and he wrapped it up very nicely. I'm like, thank you so much. That was great.
Wow.
So then we had kind of nice weather this week again. Right now it's like 20 and we've had snow and ice. But so I went back up to the cemetery because, you know, I'm trying to get that glitter off.
I was going to ask.
Of my stepfather's headstone because Tommy Walsh, well, my mother's like, asks me every day, is it off yet? And it's slowly but surely coming off. And as I said before, I'm sure like with rain and snow, it will all eventually come off. So anyway, you know, as I said, that was done by the sister of two-time Tony Award-winning choreographer Tommy Walsh, Auburn native, who is buried 2 graves down from my stepfather. Well, another famous Walsh from Auburn, no relation to Tommy Walsh, is Mr. John Walsh, America's Most Wanted.
Really? I didn't know he was from there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, John Walsh Boulevard is like right across like my street turns into John Walsh Boulevard. Now, there's nothing on John Walsh Boulevard except some sort of municipal barn where I think they keep the salt for the plows. But anyway, so if you're familiar with the story, how his activism started was that he had a son, Adam, and they were living in Florida.
I know the whole story.
And he was abducted, and I don't think they ever found his head.
Yeah, I remember.
As a matter of fact, I'm sure they didn't. They did not. They never found the boy's head. They found the body.
John, do you have the head?
Oh,
I do not have the head. I do not have the head. I'm sorry. So maybe this isn't such a great story. So this is a crap story because I don't have the head, and I've already disappointed New York Times bestselling author George O'Connor.
Oof. And co-host of the show now.
Adam, the son, is also buried in the cemetery in Auburn where my stepfather is buried. And for years, it was just a simple headstone. Well, in the last year, they've put, it's like this gargantuan monument and had a cherub or an angel on it, like looking down.
Yeah.
And so this week when I was going up to the cemetery, somebody knocked the head off the angel on the grave.
No.
Really?
In the grave of the boy who doesn't have a head. Now, I don't know. Were they really clever enough to be that malicious and that cold-hearted, or were they just destructive assholes and they just happened to knock the head off? I don't know.
I think everybody knows that story, that detailed.
That's why I'm thinking. I'm wondering. They were destructive assholes regardless of whether they did it knowingly or not. But everybody's like, oh, and I did that because the boy is in the grave and he doesn't have a head. And I'm like, I'm not so sure your typical Auburn vandal is quite that clever.
There is the internet.
I have some questions.
Okay.
All right. So how big is the population of Auburn?
I think right now it stands at about 26 or 27,000.
All right, so it's bigger than I thought, because I'm like, that's a lot of famous Walshes for one pretty small town.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's more famous people.
Like
the lady who created, what was it, American Doll? Or am I getting...
Is she named Walsh too?
No, her name's Pleasant Rose. She went to school at Wells College in Aurora. That's how that's her connection with it. She was born and raised in Chicago, and she owned.
I think my. It's just weird. There's so many famous Walshes. I wonder if they're related.
Well, I don't believe they are. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they are. Now, you got to remember, I'm related to very few people with the last name Kelly, because my father, he was the only boy in his family, and out of all his cousins, there was only one other male cousin. So I know of, outside of my brothers, 4 people named Kelly that I'm actually related to. Well, I guess like 6 because
Machine Gun Kelly?
No, not Machine Gun Kelly. Well, 6 because my cousin
Kelly.
Brian or my father's cousin. No, definitely not related to R. Kelly.
So anyway,
and before you
can
ask,
we give a prize to any listeners?
Can we?
My family came to the States after slavery, so no, don't even go down that road.
All right.
No, I have no connection with R. Kelly.
Can we offer a prize to any listeners that successfully identify every Kelly you're related to?
I think
if you can find all male Kellys, the John Kelly.
Well, one of them passed away during pandemic, so actually it's getting smaller.
There's a clue.
There's a clue.
3 are on Staten Island.
Oh, more clues.
Yeah. So
what we'll accept is any photo of any of these people. They should be caught unawares, ideally, and just a photo of them in their natural habitat. Now, for the guy who is deceased, any sizable portion of his anatomy. But you send those 4 Kelly proofs.
Actually, it's a she, but anyway.
Oh, it's a she. Okay. Yeah. Well, another clue. You send those identities of the 4 Kellys that John's related to. Tim Hamilton, New Yorker cartoonist. Mm-hmm. He'll draw you a picture.
Jeez, you're always making these deals for me. Let's start making deals for you.
You couldn't treat.
I won't accept them.
You couldn't turn them into like Greek gods or something.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna be doing that. I'm very busy.
I see. And Tim is not. Okay. I see that.
Tim is just that
I'm being
talented.
frustrated with my children's book. We won't go into that.
I see the hierarchy of this.
Well, no,
of this
here's
podcast.
the nature of being a New Yorker cartoonist. Tim has told me this. Tim has to draw 8,000 cartoons for everyone they accept.
Yeah.
So if you do the math for how often Tim appears there, Tim draws, I think it's like 11 billion cartoons a year.
11 billion. Wow.
I get up
It's impressive.
at 11 a.m. I stay in my pajamas until about 2. Then I draw
At
some
11 a.m.
cartoons after I rub my feet. I have someone rub my feet.
He's drawing.
Wait, who sends me all those texts at 8?
What's that?
That's weird. I get texts before you wake up. Are you sleep texting?
Yes.
This explains the quality of your texts.
That's how I remain the villain of our friend's thread.
That bugged Tim. It made
did
Tim
not.
sad.
I'm honored.
Tim's brought it up multiple times.
You want to know what happened to me
I'm
today?
the villain.
John gave a shout out to the genealogy
New York cartoon?
crowd. No, I'm going to give a shout out to the dog walking crowd. This is a weird, exciting thing. I'm going to bring this podcast way back down to where it usually goes. Walking the dog. She pees where there's grass.
poop
Then we're
involved.
walking down an area where it's all sidewalk, and I can tell she's like, I got to poop. And if you have a dog, you'd rather they poop on the grass just in case it's messy, because people here in Brooklyn are like, you left a spot there because it's hard to pick up off the concrete.
Do they really say that?
Once in a great while, if they see you, you feel the eyes on you. You pick up the poop, you run away. If you have to leave some stuff, because it could be runny. But anyway, here's the thing that happened. She pooped, and if you can picture in your mind, without ice cream in it, an ice cream cone covered in chocolate, upside down on the sidewalk. She did that perfectly.
Oh, no.
I looked down, like, what is that? What did you do? And I wanted to take a picture, but I was in front of a grade school, and I was like, this is weird. I'm not going to take a picture of my dog's poop in front of a grade school.
That's how you get on the list.
And I picked it up, and it left no mark, and it's all great. I just never saw that before. An ice cream cone poop. It stood up and everything.
Now, people may not know this, but you actually feed Soul nothing but ice cream cones. Is it possible that she actually just swallowed one whole?
It's possible.
Okay.
I'm glad it went through like that without the pointy end out front. That was good.
It would be more impressive, honestly, Tim, if it came out the opposite way.
Yeah, but
like if it landed on the
so it was
tip.
like
yeah, but more pain.
That would be
landed on the tip.
painful. That's why I was like glad.
I mean, you'd have to take a picture of that, in school or no school.
And then if she, after pooping an upright cone, she pooped a little strawberry scoop of ice cream in it, you'd be dealing with some sort of magic
A
dog.
little cherry on top, maybe, or
Yeah. Oh man, why not? Yeah.
Screw
that goose that lays the golden eggs. You got the dog that shits ice cream.
Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
George has cats. I don't know if this has happened to George. Speaking of this, you just reminded me long ago. I was at a friend's party. I went to their bathroom to use the bathroom. They had a cat. And I walked in, turned on the light, opened the door. The cat was in the litter box, and I surprised it. And it just did that thing where it dances all over, and it threw kitty litter and poop everywhere in the bathroom and ran away just because I had turned on the light and walked in. And Tim, I have a this is like when I found the poop in the toilet at the other party. I was like, I shouldn't pick this up. I got to go tell you. I just got to leave now. Don't tell anybody.
Tim should just stop using bathrooms in other people's homes. Just hold it. Yeah, let's get to the movie.
Now? How does this work? Do I intro because it was my
it was
movie?
your movie. Yeah, you're in the. I think the person who picked the movie should be in the driver's seat. That's just my thought.
Mm-hmm. Until we take over.
Yeah.
Until we wrench it out of his hands and take over.
Rest grab the wheel from me and just crashes into a wall. So today on SETI BIMCO 2, The Revenge, the movie we're going to be talking about is a movie from 78?
70.
Called one word. If you're going to look this up, it's on Tubi, Snowbeast. And Snowbeast it's great. It's basically Jaws on a mountain with skiing, and instead of a shark, there is a guy wearing a hairy sleeve with a claw on it that is, I guess, a Bigfoot.
Lots of snow.
And lots of snow. Lots of skiing. Lingering shots of people skiing.
The skiing montages. I did have to fast forward through a few of them just because they were so free. It's like, okay, I got it. And I love to ski. And I'm like, no, okay, enough of the skiing already. Yeah.
Snowmobiles too. If you cut out all the scenes, lingering shots of people skiing and snowmobiling, this 1.5 hour movie, I'm not even exaggerating, I bet you'd be about an hour.
Oh, it could be. This could be a half-hour episode or something.
Yeah, because like Jaws, you rarely saw the creature, but Spielberg was able to build the suspense better than this director could.
Yeah, did anybody write down the name of this director? Because
I know the
I didn't.
I know the screenwriter is the one that wrote Hitchcock's Psycho.
Yeah. Can you believe that? He adapted it.
Yeah, it was directed by Herb Wallerstein, which does sound familiar.
And there's a
he directed things like I Dream of Jeannie, Mannix, The Adventures of Rin Tin Tin, Father Knows Best.
Joseph Stefano.
John, are you saying this was adapted from a previous story, the Snowbeast?
No. I'm saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying Joseph Stefano, who wrote the teleplay for this, was a co-creator of The Outer Limits.
Yeah.
And he also wrote the screenplay for Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 thriller Psycho.
And in a connection to last week, he wrote the episode of Star Trek The Next Generation in which they killed off Tasha Yar, played by Denise Crosby.
Ooh.
Interesting. Or not.
Very interesting.
Not
Wait
as
a second.
interesting
Is
as
Denise Crosby the daughter of Bing Crosby?
George, where were you last week?
We didn't say that. You just kept mentioning Bing Crosby beat his kids.
She was the illegitimate
I didn't know he beat Tasha Yar.
She was the illegitimate granddaughter of Bing Crosby.
Wow.
You totally missed that.
That's interesting.
Just concentrate on the...
Yeah.
Well, okay, this movie, unfortunately, no Bing Crosby, no Denise Crosby, no Crosbys we know of.
No Crosby.
It opens
no
up.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Nothing.
Jesus.
No Crosby. No Bill Crosby.
No Bill Crosby.
It's 1977.
Pudding Pops.
He wasn't allowed to ski.
So this movie, it opens up with skiing. I will actually, Tim, speaking of Bill Crosby, is this the whitest film we've ever watched on this show?
I'm snowblind.
I don't think there was a single person of color. Put them all on a field of snow. I think we didn't get anything darker than pastels. Even the monster was white.
Snowblind.
Yes.
So it opens up. There's like these two people who are skiing. I honestly never could decide if the one is a child or a woman.
Yeah, I think she's a woman.
They split up. Okay, she has a very squeaky voice. They're skiing, lots of skiing footage, and we see a furry hand watching them with claws on it. And they're skiing, and the one girl's like, "We have to get out of here. It feels weird." And then they hear something, and this person just straight up bolts on her friend. Doesn't say a fucking word to her, skis off, and her friend is like, "Oh!" And we get the POV, and we get the haunting John Williams type score. Not at all, but it's like a drum, like boom, 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 and we see somebody like a cameraman point of view running towards them, and presumably this woman dies.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yes.
Then.
And in defense of this character, if I may interrupt, character, if I were in that situation, I too would have bolted. I mean, George, if you want to go check out the roaring sounds in the woods, go via Con Dios. That's totally your prerogative. I am booking to the direction of the ski lodge. Nice.
But would you say something?
Because she didn't say anything.
That's the thing. Her friend turns. They both see it, and without even saying "run" or "ski" or she just zips out, leaves her friend there.
Totally with her. Totally with her. If you are too stupid to be bolting yourself, you get everything you deserve. Is all I'm saying.
The Osmonds taught people to ski at this lodge. I don't know if you read that. So I think she was taught by the Osmonds to ski. And
is this in real life?
And she was like, when in danger, leave atheists behind. Never mind. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's keep making references to this, John, so he has to keep that joke in.
Underwear on. They're Mormon, right?
Osmonds. I was just about to ask you, are the Osmonds Mormon?
So. Right.
Okay.
They live in Utah.
No, they are.
They live in Utah.
I believe the correct term is LDS. I think they like to be called LDS now. They don't like to be called Mormons.
They filmed their TV show there. They wouldn't go to Hollywood when they had a TV show.
No, they filmed it. They filmed the first 4 seasons in L.A., and then the father decided they had to get out of L.A. and he built this. I saw Behind the Music, Donnie and Marie on VH1 about 15 years ago, and so in Provo he built this big television studio. The father. And the show totally tanked, and it basically bankrupted the family. And Marie was very unhappy being back in Utah. She wanted to stay in L.A.
You got to do what your father says.
That's where the cocaine is.
Exactly.
All right. So back to Snowbeast. After we see this cameraman attack the person, then we cut to Rill's Ski Lodge. They're having their winter carnival. We learn it is the 50th annual. And there's this woman who is Grandma Rill. Did anybody catch that actor?
Yes, Sylvia Sidney. She was the caseworker in Beetlejuice.
Yes, I'm like, I know this woman's voice. And I had to look it up, and I was so delighted. Yeah, she's the one who's like, what's her name? Juno.
She had a big long career. She had the cigarette coming out of her larynx. Yeah. And
her voice is kind of in between what would be a normal human's voice and the kind of emphysema nightmare she is by the time Beetlejuice comes out.
Right.
Very raspy. But old Hollywood energy, which is becoming my favorite part about these Eddie Bimco movies. We catch these Hollywood stars in the latter half of their careers. They're doing TV movies, but they're still bringing that big 40s energy.
I thought she was Carol.
It's the Lerna Moys.
Like Lerna Moy in the elevator?
Lerna Moy. I'm petitioning for the podcast to be called Lerna Moy from now on. So the Lerna Moy of our show was this. Now, this was a real screen. I had to freeze this to double check this thing. There's a montage where we see the Rill Ski Lodge, RILL, being set up for this 50th annual thing. It's a big deal. She's definitely the mayor from Jaws. This is it's the tourism. It keeps the town alive. They're unfurling a banner on the front of the the chalet, and this is what it says:
Whites only.
It says whites. No, it says the Lord is risen. No, 50th annual Rill's Winter Carnival. A day and night weeks orgy of fun and games. What the fuck does that mean?
It's
1977. It was the disco era. They were on Quaaludes.
A day and weeks orgy of fun and games.
They were on Quaaludes, or as they were called, disco biscuits.
Disco biscuits. Yeah,
I mean, sure, why not?
Water beds.
I wasn't actually sure at this point if this movie wasn't dubbed from another language until that because I actually wrote down on the timestamp when this part is unfurled for anyone who wants to watch 4 minutes 38 seconds because all we hear is the weirdly dubbed voices of the skiers up until this point. Then this montage where the English in the signs is highly questionable. The lead actor in this movie, top billed actor, his name is Bo Svensson.
Yes.
I'm like, are we watching a Norwegian film? Turns out we're not. This was actually made in the USA. I don't know.
An orgy of fun means waterbeds, fondue, disco biscuits.
Well, there's that weird orgy scene later. Did you guys get that in your version?
Yes.
Yeah. Boobs everywhere.
Yeah, it was something. It was really something.
The ski poles looked painful.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird the way they were able to sit on them that way.
Take 46.
We need to get a new actor to play Yvette. This one, that's gross. Never mind.
Anyway, you fill in the blank, listener.
His name is Garth Seberg. He shows up and he needs a skiing job. This is the only drama.
Oh wait, no, Tim, it's not Garth. It's Gar.
Gar.
He's like a giant fish.
Gar
Seberg. Gar. I'd be a fish man.
Gar. He tried his luck as a pirate. He tried his luck as a pirate, and it didn't work out. Gar. And then he became a skier.
Yes.
That's Bo Svensson's character, by the way, everybody.
Yes.
His drama.
You may know this guy. He was new to me, but he's a titan. He's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Physically. I mean. Yeah, he's like
he's like an early day Dolph Lundgren.
He is. You're right, and he actually apparently I looked at his IMDb. He did play Frankenstein's monster, so he
did, and he was born in Sweden.
Frankenstein. It was a TV.
It was a
'73 Frankenstein.
Movie.
Oh, I remember that. That scared me. Tom Baker's in that.
Maybe that's a future
Tom
Eddie
Baker,
Bimco.
in that.
What?
Uh-oh, I know.
Does he play the
we're
Bride of
gonna be watching.
Frankenstein?
So he
All right,
shows up.
so-
He needs a job. He can teach people to ski. He can wax skis. He can watch the Osmonds ski.
Yes.
He can teach small dogs to ski.
His character, as we learn, it's actually kind of nice that they unveil it. He's a man haunted by something.
Yes, by skiing.
And like he shows up, by skiing, as it turns out.
He's
he
haunted
shows
by
up at the lodge,
skiing.
and there's some kids are like, "I saw you when you won the Olympics."
Yeah, he won the
and
gold
they get his
medal in the
autograph.
1968 Olympics and never got on a pair of skis again. Is
Well, do you
basically
catch the line that there's the great line? Like they're like, this person's like puffing up his ego, and he's like, "It's nice to feel wanted somewhere."
I know. He says that to his wife, right?
And his wife, because his wife's looking at him like, "You're a pile of human shit."
And his supposed friend hits on his wife the whole movie. We'll just
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, apparently there had been a
It's his wife,
relationship
yeah.
there in the class. See, I thought there should have been more tension between the
Really?
two of them.
Right?
And then they would have been
They really deflated it.
They did. Then they would have he goes, "Oh, so you kissing my wife?" Ha 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 ha. And it's
know.
like, really? That's it? That's it? I'd be like,
That part
I'd
was
be like,
there's-
I'd be like, "Look, motherfucker, get your paws off my wife if you know what's good for you." And then what it would have been was, then they would have been at odds with each other, and then would have been forced to confront this. I'm going to say Yeti. They were calling it Sasquatch. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. And
they called it Bigfoot.
She said.
They never said Sasquatch. I was disappointed.
Ellen, the wife of Gar, is a TV reporter,
Gar.
and she's like 3 times. She's like, "Yeah, Bigfoots. There's hundreds of them in the woods.
Yeah.
I did a story about it once."
yes,
She won't shut up about it.
No, she's not a reporter. As the sheriff calls her later, she's a lady reporter.
A lady reporter. That's right.
She's a lady reporter.
Actually, but I will say this movie, yes, lady reporter shit, she does get involved in the action. She asserts herself
yeah.
nicely.
Yeah.
I actually wrote props. This movie didn't set
Well,
the Bigfoot did kill exclusively women pretty much, which was troubling. But it does the female lead really takes a part in the action, which was
maybe
good
the
for this
Yeti
movie.
was female, George. Why do you assume?
Well, everybody knows that the famous Bigfoot from the Patterson Gimlin
That's female,
film was
I
a
know.
female. So, yeah, it's got big pendulous carpet-covered boobs, just like how apes would have.
Yes.
Interesting.
All right. So the story is, there's the Rills. There's Grandma Rill, who is the mayor from Jaws. She wants to keep the place open. There's her grandson, who I guess is the equivalent of Richard Dreyfuss, who he goes out, he sees the monster, but he doesn't want to create a fracas. He's like, there's definitely a Bigfoot.
Doesn't he want to? But his grandmother is the one who's like, no.
That's true, but he bows to her
She's
pressure.
like-
There's Bo Svensson, he's the person who's afraid to ski, just like how Sheriff Brody's afraid to go in the water. He's Sheriff Brody. There's Yvette, who I guess is Brody's wife. Yvette, not Yvette. Is that her name?
The actress is
lady
Yvette
reporter.
Mimieux, but the Ellen is her name. Ellen is the character's name.
Ah, yes. Okay. And then there's the sheriff, who's definitely Quint.
Yes.
And it's Jaws. It's just it's like a shitty
She's
Jaws.
like, we want everyone to stop focusing on the terrible possible woman who's missing, but we found her bloody jacket, and look forward to the wholesome Roman Pulaski Ski Downhill Teen Ski Challenge, hosted and judged by Roman Pulaski.
Polanski.
It's Polanski. Thank you, John.
Polanski.
Oh my God. John, we're going to be listening to a story he wrote about Roman Pulaski.
It's 19.
Right? This is definitely
It's 1977. They wanted Roman Polanski to judge the downhill, wholesome Roman Polanski Downhill Teen Challenge.
Yes.
Teen Girl Challenge.
Yes. Because if you ever read,
I don't know if you know about Roman Polanski.
he was all gung ho on doing this movie called Downhill Racer.
Yeah.
Which did get made. I don't know if he directed it or not, but then they talked him into directing Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, okay.
Sent him home with the IR-11 book, and so he did Rosemary's Baby instead.
Thought you're steering us towards
Oh my God, Downhill Racer's a real movie. I thought
you were
that was a
heading for a
weird
joke.
No,
too.
it is a real movie,
Okay.
but I don't know who directed it.
Robert Redford was in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So they're out looking for this girl, the grandson. He sees the Yeti. He comes back. He's like, I saw a Yeti. And like, or Bigfoot, because they only say Bigfoot. And the grandma's like, everyone's very nonchalant about the fact that this mythical creature's out there maybe committing murders. They're like,
Right.
well, it's the 50th anniversary. Let's not say anything yet. We don't want to create a panic. It's 4th of July weekend. All the businesses brings it to Amity Island. I mean, whoops. And then and then like
Osmonds are coming. Don't tell the Osmonds there's a Yeti.
The Osmonds are coming. We got the Osmonds coming with Roman Polanski and whatever else. And so there's like she basically, they're like, let's just say it's an avalanche or a bear. So the grandson is instructed, whose name was like Logan. Did everybody catch that? His real name was Logan? Robert
in
Logan.
real life or in the movie?
Mentioning that for my conspiracy I'm going to bring up later. And Tim, comic book stuff, you know it. Yeah. And so he's like, just put up signs that say restricted area. But one of the rescue guys, a guy whose name is, I wrote it down because it was hilarious. It was Buster something.
Uh-oh.
He had the worst funeral. Buster goes out and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go look to see what happened to this girl. She needs help. And Buster wipes out so hard, falls off a goddamn cliff, and he's hanging there, and a big hairy arm grabs him.
He could,
Yep.
He was just a victim.
And he just gets eaten, presumably.
But then out at the Fairchild farm, there's a guy with his little kid. And the little kid runs.
Yep. Did you catch their name?
Barn. Oh, gee, what's their name? Abbott and
Cockrum.
George, just gonna make me cut this out.
More for my conspiracy.
The little kid.
We're gonna try to them.
He runs in the barn. He runs out looking all sick, and his dad's like, "What?" And
the water dropped. He says
the water dropped, and he says, It's what was her name? It's Patty. He goes, Zippy. I thought she smelled bad on the outside.
Oh. Wow, because Han Solo, Harrison Ford, cut open this woman who was living inside her.
Anyway, little child finds the body.
Yeah, and we learn later she has no face.
Right. She has no face.
Gruesome.
Because he says, I can identify her with her face. He's like, well, she doesn't have a face.
He said, how about dental records?
And then he identifies her by the remains of her clothes. But I thought it was going to be a sexy thing. He's like, I recognize the birthmark on her inner thigh or something.
I know.
That little tattoo of Bill Cosby she has. Fooled you. You thought I was going to say something else.
I sure did. Looking forward to Bill Cosby becoming the thing I have to cringe at.
And the only thing Gar owns is sweatsuits. And he's supporting the Yerk Ring. They're all yellow and blue sweatsuits.
Oh, actually, those are the Swedish national colors, too. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, Tim.
Nice try. Nice try, Tim.
But here's a good part to mention. There's a fun scene where so Gar, our hero, is hot tubbing with the grandson, Logan, and they're talking about this Bigfoot. And Gar, who, as I mentioned, is a really big guy. Bo Svensson looks like he's, I'd say, at least 6'4", 6'5". He's almost Sasquatchian in his appearance.
He almost is.
He's very against killing a Bigfoot. When Logan, the grandson, suggests that this is actually the work of a Bigfoot, he's like, why do you say that? Just because it's big and tall?
Just because it's big and has feet? You think it's a Bigfoot?
Yeah. Just my wife did a show. There's hundreds of them. They keep saying this. They live all over the place, and they're friendly, and they like puppies. Yes. He doesn't say that stuff, but I really do think it's because he himself relates to the plight of Sasquatch as a big, tall man who lumbers through the woods.
No, or he might have Sasquatch DNA in him, because as we have established on the Study Bimpo program, there are a lot of Sasquatch in Sullivan County, Pennsylvania, where my great-grandmother was raised, and lo and behold, I took the 23andMe test, and I am 132nd Sasquatch.
Wow, that's almost as much as, and Tim Hamilton, of course, most people know this from listening to us, 2/3 Neanderthal.
Yes.
Yeah. He's not even a Homo sapiens. He's some sort of monkey.
The Homo what?
All right. What happens?
During all this is happening, we should mention
the female lead, Ellen, is skiing around. She looks awesome in her little purple suit. I love it. She's skiing around, spying and stuff because she's as we said, a newspaper lady. No, a
lady reporter. She's a lady reporter,
and she calls it the Bigfoot controversy. I did want to get that in there.
Trying to get that.
It's the Bigfoot controversy in this movie.
Yes,
Tim, I have heard she says so much stuff in support of these. This is a Bigfoot that I have heard you yourself say.
That's true.
It's like I felt like this was Tim's, like I chose this movie, but this is the movie that most accurately represents Tim's worldview.
Yes,
because it's him talking about these Bigfoots being real. She finds like footprints of the Bigfoot, which, man, like I know this movie is made inexpensively, but like they're not even making good footprints. Like it looks like somebody just put their glove and smeared it. It doesn't look like a footprint. It looks like a glove scoop. But she's found the footprints, and then she ends up, I don't know, she hides out in the same fucking cabin that they find the dead lady in, right?
Yeah, he's the
I don't know why.
Yeti is storing the bodies in the old something farm.
Right.
I forget, Fairchild Farm.
Yes, the old Fairchild Farm. Exactly.
Old Fairchild Farm. Someone walks in like they keep walking in. There's a new body. And they go, I thought she smelled bad on the outside.
There's so few. It's so funny. There's not a lot of sets in this movie, and it's all filmed in most of it's filmed in the wilderness. But you actually really start to recognize the same few spots of wilderness over and over again. I've never experienced like that in a movie. I'm like, oh, that's that same group of trees that are right near. It's weird.
That same cliff.
So she gets stuck there all night, Ellen.
Yep.
And while is this the same time that the Bigfoot attacks the ski lodge, which is really just a high school
after Gar shows up and they kind of decide they love each other again. Oh, didn't Gar get on his skis to go find her? Isn't this is the
Gar?
He's like,
we have learned Gar, like as John said, has not been on skis since he won the gold medal in '69, and you expect there to be a big important story, like maybe he was in the woods and somebody shot him thinking he's a Bigfoot or something.
Right.
It's just that because he crested, he couldn't go back to being a normal man. He got a call from the president.
He ran down one of the Osmonds while skiing after the Olympics. That's what happened.
He ran down, Bobo Osmond.
The forgotten Osmond. There was because seriously, there was a biography out a few years ago called Bobo, the Forgotten Osmond. And yes, it
ends just on page 37.
His life did end being run over by a slalom skier at the 1968 Olympics in Grenoble.
Yeah, see,
it is true.
I'm not making this up.
It's rough.
That's the big drama. He gets on his skis.
He straps on the skis. He skis. Everything's better. The crippling depression that has sidelined this man, that literally his wife in conversation with her ex-lover says, I've lost all respect for him. Now everything's good again.
Yeah.
Because he skied. So remember that. We here at SETI BIMCO, we care about people. If you're a person, you need help. John, yes. Yes, we do. If you need help,
are we sticking with this? Okay. I better write this down.
Yeah, this is the new SETI BIMCO, the Revenge. We care about you.
We care about you.
If you're feeling lost, if you need help, go ski. You'll be better.
Yeah. Plus,
so both events and skis, you'll fall in love with your wife again, or your husband,
or your
plus. I'm guessing
fight a Bigfoot friend.
Plus, in 1977, I'm going to guess it was very hard to make ends meet on a lady reporter's salary.
Yeah,
that's why he had to take.
But she did have.
That's why he had to take the job at the ski lodge.
Lady reporter.
Now, did he bother telling them when he applied for the job at the ski lodge? I mean, okay, you're an Olympic gold medal skier, and you're applying for a job at a ski lodge.
Yeah.
Would it have ever come up in conversation like, oh yeah, by the way, I haven't been on skis in 9 years? Like that would be, if I owned that ski lodge, that would be an important piece of information I'd like to know. Is all I'm saying.
I think maybe he wanted to be their fondue person.
Their fondue person.
He's like,
not that one that makes fondue a person who gets dipped in cheese.
He does
and
the
hot
whole
chocolate.
thing.
He's like, yes, eat it
He's
off
like, you
me.
can dip anything in fondue.
It is interesting too. They never quite say where this is. I think all they say is specifically it's not in the Pacific Northwest, because at one point there's line like thought Bigfoot's under the Pacific Northwest. His wife, the lady reporter, what the fuck was she gonna do if he's in this little ski resort. Like she was
she
going to do
travels.
like
She
the hot
travels
news from
and
there.
does her
She
lady
as a
reporting
lady
things.
reporter, she travels. Yes,
She goes.
lady reporters during the 70s traveled all the time.
They do.
This dude's
lady
lucky.
Reporters.
He got back in the skis.
George.
But,
Lady reporters. They went and did little stories like the pet rock. It's the hot fad of 1975, and they interview somebody, and then they go home and do their nails.
My experience with lady reporters in the 70s in relation to this program is they hop over the walls that say "Danger, Wild Animals."
Oh, that's right.
And they get chased by bears, and luckily Spider-Man saves
episode.
them. Yes, it's a good one, everybody. Spider-Man, great show. I hope we do another episode.
So anyway, can we get to the cut to the chase, or do you have a lot to say? They get Bigfoot
at one point attacks an entire building full of people.
School.
You see its
yes.
face.
High school, yeah.
It's
he's drawn to the high school band.
Yes.
This could have been a high school episode. High school.
Yes.
Yes. This has more in common with if it was still the old, more to do with high school than most Tim movies.
Did you hear what song they were practicing? I believe it was
Yeah.
Turn the Page by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band.
I don't know if this is a
No,
joke.
that was a popular song. Then. Come on, John, back me up. I depend on you.
You know what? I do know it was. I do know it was a Tim. I do know it was a popular. Tim, I can't lie for you. I do know it was a popular song of the day. Whether or not it was "Turn the Page," I mean, maybe it could have been. I don't know.
Which song? Which
the only thing? Because the only song I remember, the only scene I really remember from that is that the crown that they're going to use, I guess, to crown the Snow Queen. She's like, get the crown. And somebody steps on it, and I'm like, and she's very upset over it. I'm like, it's like basically like paste and glitter. Like, couldn't you just go down to Party City, USA and buy another one for like $7? What's the big deal about the crown?
I know, there's a Sasquatch attacking them, and the crown is very important.
Yes, they get the crown.
During the Sasquatch attack, too, the old lady, the one who is the caseworker from Beetlejuice, just fucking wipes out of nowhere. And, like, basically keeps Bo out of action because, like, the Sasquatch, literally, it's a high school that's, to say it was filled is an overstatement. There was, like, 60 people in this giant auditorium. Bigfoot decides just going to smash the windows. And it's, like, it's hilarious because, again, the Bigfoot costume for this movie is literally a furry arm. And at this point, we see it's a mask. That's it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's really kind of the only time you actually see the thing's face. Yeah. Which, like, begs the question, like, okay, I know that they were planning on showing the shark more in Jaws. I believe the shark's name was Bruce.
Didn't work.
But it kept breaking down, so Spielberg had to build the tension without the shark, and probably it wound up being a much better movie because of that. Now, what was the glitch that they couldn't show this Yeti? Because there is actually an actor credited for playing the Snowbeast. So Michael J. London. Now, was he like did he just decide to start improvising or ad-libbing, and suddenly he started speaking, and they're like, wait, no, cut. The Snowbeast doesn't speak. He's like, oh, I just thought I'd add a little something. And then, like, when they wouldn't let him speak, he like storm off to his trailer and refused to go on the set. So I'm like, so did they have to like work around that? Is that why you didn't see I still call it a Yeti. Is that why you didn't see the Yeti?
I think it's the same problem they had with the He-Man costume. He wouldn't wear anything over his butt, so it was like his butt was sticking out. The real human butt was sticking out of the Yeti costume.
Okay.
He's like, it's more like a monkey this way. And then the monster can't get in the school, so it goes and kills the lady in her car.
They go out in their boat called a camper to kill Jaws, the Yeti. That's basically
he says you're going to need a bigger camper when he sees the footprints.
And the Yeti attacks them like Ewoks and throws logs down the road on them.
Yeah, where did those logs come from? Where did those 25 or so perfectly cut logs come from? Does this Yeti use tools?
They just happen to be stacked on top of a hill where the camper was parked on the bottom. It's just coincidence.
I think that was the Osmonds' winter firewood supply. Yeah,
they were very upset, the Osmonds.
Weird.
That's why you don't see the Osmonds in this movie, because they were so annoyed about losing their winter firewood. They're like, that's it. We will no longer be associated with Snowbeast.
And they, you know what? And they took 3/4 of the Snowbeast costume with them.
Yeah, and they took.
That's
and
why.
They had all these musical numbers choreographed. It was going to be a musical with the Osmonds.
Yes.
That's what's going to be in the high school auditorium.
Exactly.
You're right. That's where they're playing Bob Seger.
Exactly. And, just wasn't.
Oh,
just wasn't.
Can I mention a scene we forgot?
Okay.
Sure.
If it's important.
It is, because it's a real Jaws parallel. There's the bit towards the end. I'm like, oh, there's still 20 minutes this thing. How's this going to happen? And all of a sudden, the sheriff deputy runs in like, the sheriff killed it, shot it right in the eyes. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a bear. It's a bear.
It's a bear, yeah.
And they're like, we should cut the bear open to see if there's people remains in it.
He's like,
and it's just like, oh my God, they're doing the exact scene from Jaws. Of course, it's not the bear. So then the sheriff, and they go out, then they get wiped out. The sheriff gets trapped in the RV when the logs hit it. And they just fucking leave him. They run away because the Yeti's running down the hill to them. They're like, fuck it, leave him here. He gets eaten.
Yeah, well, duh.
I guess.
Again, can't blame him. I'm telling you right now. And, I love you guys to death.
They had a gun.
But I'm telling you right now, if the two of you are in a camper trapped under a pile of logs,
John is running,
and that Yeti is coming down the hill, I'm booking. I'm sorry. Nice knowing you guys. But I'm
John, get help. And please hurry.
Yeah, be right back with that.
I'm snowblind.
I'm very sweaty.
I'd like to see Jaws one more time.
And
so, gun,
I don't know. So they come back later. They run off to the cabin for a little bit.
The gun does not kill the Yeti.
They keep guard.
And a ski pole does kill the Yeti. So this Yeti, ski pole is like kryptonite for the Yeti.
All POV right to the end. Yeah, like you see, so it's just Bo with a handgun, and he's facing the Yeti, and the camera runs towards him. Bo fires a couple times, and then he stabs the camera with a ski pole, and it falls off a cliff.
And we never see the body.
It's still breathing. You don't see the body because there's only 1/4 of a costume, and the movie abruptly ends, and then started playing some movie called Avalanche.
And then, because they were hoping for the sequel. They're like, well, as long as you're all here, let's film a sequel. So there is a sequel somewhere.
Wait, was it like Halloween 2 where it takes place a second after? Like Loomis looks out the window and sees. They look down like, there's a Snowbeast. They look back a second later. Snowbeast is gone. He's pure evil.
There you go.
All right, so what do we think of this? Do we like this movie? Did I do the best job ever of choosing a movie? Because I think I did.
Well, yeah. I mean, if in 1977 I would have been 11 years old, I guess I wouldn't have thought I had wasted an evening if I had watched this movie.
Actually,
my 11-year-old self enjoyed it very much, George. I will say that.
I'm glad you put it that way because this would have been a movie if I had been lucky enough to see this as a child. This would have been a movie that would have become elevated in my subconscious to being like a great formative experience.
Right. If I had
remember there was that fucking awesome Bigfoot movie.
It was like on Friday Night Market. It was awesome.
We would play Snowbeast.
He kills the beast with a snow pole and he falls off the cliff. It was awesome.
We would play it on the playground.
Playing Snowbeast. I like get my mom to make me just a fuzzy arm and paw with some claws on it. Rah! I would have loved it.
Honey, don't you want the rest of the costume? It's all we need. Just a paw.
All I need, Mom.
Maybe a face.
That's all I need. All I need.
I was less impressed with the movie because the characters were so cardboard, but it did prompt me to do a little ski research. So do you know, what I found out was, I wonder if you know why cowboys could not ski down the Double Diamond Slope. I found this out in my research, why cowboys can't ski down the
Is this a riddle?
Diamond Slope. If you want it to be a riddle, do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, please do. Don't leave me in suspense.
Cowboys could not ski down the Diamond Slope because the ski lift would spook their horses. Jesus, you're a tough crowd.
I can't decide if I'm having, is this anxiety or a heart attack?
Yeah, am I finally having that? Am I finally having that brain aneurysm? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I did a little more research about the Osmond family. They actually had,
Wait, how did we start talking about the Osmonds? Honestly,
George.
is this in Utah?
Yes, because this took place in Utah, at the place where the Osmonds often ski. Okay. But they actually had 30 children, but 21 of them died learning how to ski down the Triple Diamond landmine slope.
Landmines? Because they blew up?
That's what I guess.
Yeah.
And one of them died because the cowboy's horse got spooked and just trampled it, right?
Well, it all started. None of them were the same after Bobo died in Grenoble in '68.
Bobo got trampled.
So they don't know where they killed. Was it suicide? They still don't. The jury's. It was the epilogue in Bobo the Lost Osmond. Maybe maybe the author's gonna release a second volume to answer those questions. We'll
see. It all depends on the sales.
Yeah, we'll see.
They're still paying off that
Tim,
last season.
Any more skiing
Any more fascinating trivial tidbits, Tim?
Because we've talked for an hour.
Come on, Tim, you got another one.
Goddamn hour.
Come on, I want one more, Tim. Make one up right now.
George.
Wild card.
Well, riding I do what? You want one more? I don't know if I have
I want one more ski fact.
Oh, skiing is like riding a bike.
Yep.
You can't do it in a swimming pool. There you go.
All right, nice. Well done, Tim.
Well done.
That's it.
That's the best
one. It's announced revenge time.
Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you. I'll get you.
Revenge.
Revenge. One of us will die. One of us will die.
I will not let Cindy take my place.
I will have my revenge.
So what was that question? Who in this movie, in the sequel, would most likely marry a millionaire? Is that right?
Yep.
Who's thought of one by now? George is already working on it. I heard it.
Well, I mean, the obvious question to me, since I heard it, was the lady reporter.
Lady reporter.
Because like John pointed out, like they really took any opportunity to like milk any drama out of this like love triangle. Just like, I mean, there is a scene like early on, we kind of glimpsed over it. They fucking the guy, the grandson, is her ex-lover. Right. And they do kiss right in front of Bo, and he's like, "Hey, you kissing my wife on the lips, huh? Oh, who kids?" But she does say there's a part towards the end when they're in the cabin hiding out from the Snowbeast where Logan is like, "Why didn't we ever work out? I have an 8-year question." She's like, "Well, John had just won the Olympics, and it wasn't that I didn't choose you. It was just that I chose him." She shows that she is somebody who pursues fame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She pursues riches. Now, she thought Gar was the horse to attach your cart to, but that guy, he's like a weird Bigfoot sympathizer. I don't think he skied okay here, but like a week later, he's back to his same old shit. I think what's going to happen, we saw a Bigfoot fall off a cliff. You know what's going to happen? That means there's a body visible in sight. I say a famous millionaire, maybe real life Bigfootologist Tom Swift comes in, takes that. He's like, puts it on display. This is an alternate universe where Bigfoots are just accepted. And she marries that guy.
Really?
And then the Bigfoot breaks free, grabs the lady reporter, and climbs to the top of the Empire State Building.
Oh, and then these little tiny drone airplanes shoot her down.
Yeah.
Because it is a lady Bigfoot, as we pointed out.
So is Gar left us hang out with, what was his name? Logan.
Tony.
Gardist retires into the hot tub.
Right.
Because there is a great scene where he's in a hot tub. And he just stays in there until he eventually breaks apart like bread and water.
That's good.
Extra bonus. Yeah. He is very pasty.
Okay.
John, what's your theory? John, who from this movie would marry a millionaire?
Well, because like when you say marry a millionaire, you automatically assume in a very sexist way, I might say, that it's automatically going to be a woman that's going to marry a millionaire.
I didn't say that.
Why can't it be a man? So I say Tony the grandson, because they bring grandma back there all beat up, her arms in a sling after she unsuccessfully tries to save the crown, and he's like well, Jesus, she's like Jesus, I'm not going to be stuck here all winter taking care of this old bitch while she heals.
Wow.
So one of grandma's college friends shows up, and she's a millionaire. And Tony's like, why not? So basically he marries her for her money. And, you're right. They do get the Bigfoot out of the ravine and revive it for the sequel.
Okay.
And
Nice.
yes. And then, Ellen, the lady reporter, comes back and she's trying to work on her message or her marriage with Gar. And Tony's trying to keep the marriage together with this old woman that is his grandmother's friend, but he doesn't want to give up the millions of dollars. And there the tension.
This is like a soap
There the
opera
tension
you're picturing.
arises. And then on top of all that drama, the lady Bigfoot comes back to life and starts wreaking havoc again.
Oh.
And
I love
basically
this.
to save himself, Tony pushes his wife into, much like what I would do, pushes his wife into the path of the Bigfoot so he can book out of there. And because he's already in the will.
And when they do the autopsy, he says, I thought she smelled bad on the outside.
On the outside.
Oh, Tim. Wow, Tony really makes that well in this world because he's already got his old wife's money, which he gets. He's got his grandma's money. Mm-hmm. Dare I say he might be a billionaire?
Dare I say maybe today he would be? Yeah.
Oh man, maybe he buys Twitter.
Ooh.
He yeah.
Well, I had I guess I will agree with John. We don't know if the grandmother straight or not straight, but we saw her fall when Sasquatch smashed the window in and she wanted to get the crown. It looked like both her hips shattered. It didn't look fake to me. Did you see her? It's an old lady. She just like fell on her knee, fell on her hip, half her body shattered. And they're bringing her away in an ambulance.
It's just like Sylvia, you got to get this done in one take. She's like, why? They're like, don't ask a lot of questions. One take. One take. That's it.
So
suck it up.
So she's all in the hospital and she sues the high school, gets a lot of money. And also she puts on a show because everybody comes to town because the town is now famous for this Yeti. And she puts on a play that's very popular. It's called Save the Crown. And every episode they reenact the scene where Bigfoot is breaking the window and she falls. An actress does it, falls, pretends to shatter her hips and yells, "The crown, save the crown," and it gets stepped on. Yes.
I have a question, Tim.
Yes.
In this world, does she save the crown or does it get trampled before her? Oh, that is tragic. I thought she'd rewrite history, so she successfully saves the crown.
This play becomes so amazing. It goes to Broadway, and she becomes a millionaire, and a woman comes to town. What are those housewives in New Jersey? The Kardashians. One of the Kardashians comes.
Oh,
one of them. I'll say. She's
Bobo.
a lesbian.
Bobo, the lost Kardashian.
She marries the grandmother who's now a millionaire and steals all her money because she's stuck in bed with her shattered body, even though she's got all this money.
Nice.
She rips her off. That's what happens.
That's a fun story.
Great feel-good story.
And is that where that's given the time frame? Because the Kardashians, I think, are literally billionaires.
This is in the 70s.
That's the first nugget of their. Yeah, this is how they get their money.
Yeah.
Tim, you just cracked this case. You should be a lady
she's heading
reporter.
to an airport with the money, and you find out the Yeti was still alive, and it kills her. So, twist ending. But I'm going to get to the sequel ideas. Should I go first?
Does anyone have?
I have a feeling George is like mine. Go ahead, George. You do it. I have a feeling you stole my idea.
No, you go first. Nah.
I think you did. Okay.
All right, here's mine.
Okay.
So we kind of glossed over this in the story, but there was a character. So kind of the central conceit, the reason why Mrs. Rill, a.k.a. Juno from Beetlejuice, the caseworker, is so steadfast on this happening is not just because it brings a lot of people to her town, this snow festival, but because she herself was the Snow Queen 50 years ago when she was only 16. Uh-huh. And so we meet at the beginning the new Snow Queen, whose name is Heidi. Heidi is there for all the attendant festivities. And when the scene happens where the Yeti tries to attack the high school, where Heidi is in attendance, her mom is waiting out in the parking lot in a car that says the Snow Queen's carriage. And the actual Yeti, instead, because it can't get into the gym because you would have seen it, and then we would have had to make more than just a sleeve and a mask. It goes out to the car, smashes the car window, and presumably kills the mom because we see Heidi run out. Now, the way my movie Picture, if you will. Strap on your thinking caps.
Strap on my what?
Your thinking caps.
Oh, okay.
The movie opens up.
I'm sorry.
The movie opens up.
My mind was wandering. My mind was wandering there for a while, and then I heard strap on. I was like, I'm back.
What opens
I'm
up?
back.
I'm taking you on a journey that we'll all take together their minds. Everyone at home, too, you do it as well. Everybody's got their caps on. Good. Movie opens up 20 years later. It's the 70th anniversary of the Snow Queen. Mrs. Rill has since passed on. She's passed on to her son, Logan Roy, whatever the hell his name was. He's now in head of the thing. He's married. He has kids and stuff. And it's the 70th anniversary, and it's Heidi's daughter is the new Snow Queen. And then, wouldn't you know it, the Bigfoot murders start happening again. And it's weird because in this universe, everybody kind of knew about Bigfoots after this because the one just died in front of people. They put them in sitcoms. There was a TV show. It was like Alf, but it was like a Bigfoot.
Right, so
There's all this
that's
stuff.
my Bigfoot. That was one of them. I remember that.
Yes, yeah, it was a good one.
In
Remember?
the sequel.
And like there was a
What?
well, these murders start happening again. And at first, nobody believes, and the central character is Heidi's daughter. She's like, you gotta believe me. My mom, she saw her mother get killed. It's after me. It's like Jaws the Revenge, right? And we think that's where it's going. But in the final scene, we're down to the final girl, who is Heidi's granddaughter. Let's call her Hootie. It's Hootie and her boyfriend, whose name, let's call him Donnie, in honor to the Osmonds, who Tim is bringing up all the time. And they're just in this cabin, and we see a furry arm reach in, smashing the window, and so many people have been eaten and eviscerated, and the hand reaches through the window, opens the door of the cabin, and we see it's not a Bigfoot at all. It's the fucking mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a Friday the 13th part 1, motherfuckers.
Oh.
She's pretending. She talks in a weird Yeti voice, just like the way Mrs. Voorhees talked like Jason. She's like, I'm a big Yeti. I'm going to kill
wearing a hockey
you
mask?
like I killed my mama. Wait.
Is he wearing a hockey mask?
Yes. Why not? Yeah. Actually, Tim, he is, because they as we know, the Yeti costume sucked. A hockey mask that has fangs drawn on it. It's like, I'm a big Yeti. I'm going to kill you. And then she stabs her mom to death with, let's see, a broken bowling pin.
Not nice.
And then...
Not a statue of the Osmond?
No, because Donnie was there. He was there, yeah.
Donnie and Hootie. Donnie and Hootie. You're not really following.
And as her mom, wait, I have a good last line though.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
She goes, as her mom is dying, she goes, I just wanted to break the circle of violence. And her daughter, standing above her, holding the broken pin, looks to the camera and says, "Not Yeti."
Awesome.
Yes. I'm going to pick up a mic. I drop it. Boom. That's it.
Wow, that's great. Mine's gonna pale in comparison.
Boy, I feel like I just spent all my creative juices for the rest of my life.
When they attack the high school, and this 20 years later, is the band practicing a Dave Matthews song? Or
no, they're doing a Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie.
Yeah. No, actually, Tim, they're doing a Hootie and the Blowfish song.
The Christian band.
Yes. Callbacks upon callbacks, making the show the impenetrable morass we all strive to do. No new listeners can ever get into Steady Bimco because we keep referring to things in the past.
John, you got to go because the time is going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
John.
I figure I can go next, and then when Tim gets rambling on, I'm going to go up and get something to drink, maybe use the bathroom. No, mine is not nearly as involved. I feel kind of like this is really going to pale in comparison. But
not
Ellen, the lady, yes, it is. It's always
lady reporter.
The lady reporter. After this Bigfoot spectacular, her boss says, well, now you got to go back and do some lady reporting things. So, she's covering like bake sales and garden club shows and beauty pageants. And she goes to the Miss Utah pageant, and Miss Utah is on the ski slopes, and it's a photo shoot, and she's swishing down the slope, and she's wearing her crown, and she gets over towards the woods, and all of a sudden you hear this roar, and this big hairy paw with claws comes out and grabs her, and they can't find her. And they finally find her like 2 days later. And instead of her face missing, her crown is missing. They can't find the crown.
That's the real tragedy.
So then fast forward, Ellen, as a lady reporter, has to go do some more lady reporting things. This time it's the Miss Hawaii pageant. And Miss Hawaii is on the beach and they're doing the photo shoot. And she goes and leaves for the day. And they hear this rah and this terrible scream. And they see the Yeti footprints on the beach in the sand. And they find her body, but they can't find her crown. So then the climax is they wind up in Atlantic City for the Miss America pageant. And Miss America is trapped in her dressing room and this Yeti comes in and is like, rah! And they're like, no, not Miss America, save the crown. And lo and behold, what has happened was that Grandma, Carrie Brill from the original movie, was so upset about losing her Snow Queen crown that her revenge was that female Yeti who went off the cliff and we think died, maybe didn't, had left a litter of baby Yetis.
Wow.
In her den, and Carrie raised them and trained them to go after beauty queens to steal their crowns so she could add to her collection. And that was her revenge.
Wow. She was a woman, see?
I like that we both have, it's both the madness of women.
Yes.
We're such a progressive podcast. The Yeti could be a woman.
Right. Yeti could be a woman. Or a lady reporter.
Or a lady reporter.
Or a lady ski lodge owner.
It could be all sorts of people.
I remember.
Yeah. Women can be murderers too, is kind of the whole theme of Steady Bimco.
Lady murderers.
All right, Tim, did I steal your idea?
No, I thought you were heading that way. My sequel centers around Ellen and Gar, even though I wrote Garth.
Gar.
He starts his job being a ski instructor because he can ski again. But it's 1979 now, and everyone who he teaches they come here for years. And all they say is, "Show me the barn where the beast left the body. Show me the school where the Yeti attacked the kids. Show me the truck he wrecked. Show me the room that the Osmond brothers slept in." So they just bug him constantly, and he can't take the pressure, wanting to show where the bodies are found. And his wife Ellen is no help, as she was away on doing lady news assignments and doing more, telling people she did a Bigfoot story about the Bigfoot controversy. The hundreds of big feet are all over the country.
They're good too. They're not bad. Don't shoot them.
So Garth tries to work in the bar and make fondue for people, but people keep playing the Osmond albums, and he wants to hear the new Pink Floyd album called The Wall.
Oh, nice, topical.
Yep. And people that come to the bar want to know all about the Yeti and the Snowbeast. He's like, I can't take it. Can't take it anymore. So Gar decides to travel with his wife and support her in doing her lady reporting. He supports her. He travels with her. He makes her dinner back at the hotel, makes fondue, takes her messages. But he hears all the other people laughing at his wife. She's like, there could be hundreds of Bigfoot. I did a story about the controversy, and they laugh at her because she believes in this stupid myth. And they're reporting on 3 Mile Island, and they hear there was an actual Sasquatch attack at a local school where the band was practicing old-time rock and roll by Bob Seger.
Oh, boy.
And it killed several women in the woods and ate them and left part of their bodies behind with no faces. So long story short, it's Pennsylvania.
Is it long story short?
Pennsylvania. Okay. Everybody gets their guns. They want to go kill the Bigfoot in the woods that's eating people. Ellen, the lady reporter, she's going after them like, no, don't kill it. We just want to catch one. And she can't stop them. And the guns don't kill it, but they shoot a bunch of leftover pet rocks at it, and they kill the Sasquatch. And once they look at the lifeless body, they realize it's a guy in a suit. And they take the head off.
Oh, no.
It's Gar. He was so upset that people were laughing at his wife. He wanted to pretend to be a Bigfoot and prove her right.
Scooby-Doo-esque.
Yes.
How Scooby-Doo-esque.
Did Gar actually eat children?
Yeah, he went all the way. He committed.
Wow, he was a method actor.
He was a
you're
method
saying.
actor.
Yeah,
Lee Strasberg. Yeah.
So
and
Gar shat in the woods
yes,
too.
did that too.
Yeah.
And when they pulled his whole costume off, they'd seen how far his mental state had fallen because he was already wearing a "Vote for Reagan" button. So that's how.
Tim, I appreciate the sprinklings of the time period in there. 3 Mile Island. We got the Reagan.
Right.
Yep.
Nice.
Right. The Wall.
Is he wearing an Ayatollah Asahola t-shirt in his other outfit? Yeah.
Or the or the one with Mickey Mouse giving the finger, hey, around.
Right.
Tim.
It's called Snowbeast: The Revenge, or as it's known in Canada, another Snowbeast, eh? That's all I could think of. There you go.
Another Snowbeast. Sorry. Good stuff, Tim.
All right. But next week I picked an amazing film. John and I watched one of this man's films in the past called Just for the Hell of It. You remember that, John? This is another one of his.
A classic.
The movie's called She Devils on Wheels. It's female biker gang in Florida. No actors. He just went and got a biker gang. So
what year is this?
There were no actors in his other movie either. I think this is 1968. It's on Tubi, everybody, if you want to watch it. She Devils.
I have a question, Tim. Are we looking at is this primo exploitation? Like, am I going to see topless She Devils and Wheels, or is this going to be more like...
Probably.
He didn't have topless in his other movie.
Or it might just be, and if it's not gratuitous sex, it's going to be gratuitous violence. It's going to be one. It's going to be one. It's going to be one or the other.
I want gratuity.
Devils on Wheels, 1968.
All right,
on Tubi.
Yep,
it's nice quality.
Oh, the motorcycle gang is called the Man Eaters, so maybe even some cannibalism.
Yes, well, of a sort.
Getting a little literal there, aren't you, George?
So, hey, like us and follow us. Give us 5 stars here at SETI BIMCO The Revenge. And email us at SETIBIMCO with the E at gmail.com. We're on Instagram, Mastodon, all the places.
Definitely not Twitter, though, because Twitter.
Not Twitter. And there may be a guest next week.
I thought we weren't doing guests anymore, Tim.
It's for something special.
Something special in the next episode of SETI BIMCO. Let's see if this makes it on.
All right. So we should just say goodbye. Did I say everything? She Devils on Wheels, Tubi.
I think so.
And I could say goodbye.
Yeah. Everybody.
Bye. I love you.
Bye, everyone.
So long.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line. It's a party line.
All right. Yes. Lots of editing for Tim Hamilton.
Tell me what to cut out. All that Hitler talk.
Tim, stop!
I'm not saying it.
You were so good this week.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first? Sequel.
It's so whenever you say the name even once, Tim, I get worried because I feel like you're like an alcoholic. It's like one beer won't hurt me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Osmonds. 20th century's second worst villain, the Osmonds, the Osmond family.
Oh, wow.
Adolf the Lost Osmond, is that what? I don't know.
Bobo.
Adolf Osmond.